I've always been fascinated by main themes in music. The task of distilling a movie, TV show, or video game down to one recognizable piece, taking into account narratives, characters, themes, and all other aspects that make a story, then translating them into one singular tune. That's no easy task for any composer, especially for one in charge of a franchise. How do you sum up decades of story into only a few minutes? Well, if you're Yoko Shimomura, the mastermind behind much of the Kingdom Hearts soundtrack, you create one of the most recognizable themes in video game history, Dearly Beloved. Today, I want to look at the narrative significance of this piece, where and when it appears throughout the series, and how each moment contributes to unveiling its hidden meaning. To begin, we should brush up on the concept of leitmotifs. A leitmotif is a recurrent theme throughout a musical or literary composition associated with a particular person, idea, or situation. For example, a character theme like Riku's. That theme is a leitmotif. It represents Riku as a character and appears most when he's on screen. As the central theme of a video game franchise that centers around connections, it's pretty safe to guess that Dearly Beloved is the leitmotif meant to represent connections. The title, Dearly Beloved, already refers to a supposed loved one or person someone cherishes. It's also a commonly included phrase in marriages, a ceremony meant to unite two people in love. Every time it plays, as its original version or as a variant, it is in a moment centered around bonds between people. There are 4 original songs throughout the Kingdom Hearts series that prominently feature the leitmotif: Friends in My Heart, Always on My Mind, Link to All, and Guardians of Light, all which use said leitmotif to highlight different types of connection. We'll go through all of them to uncover which types each represent and how they connect back to the original tune. Let's begin with Link to All. Now, I'm sure you've already noticed that I used the term variation to describe the 4 tracks, and that was intentional. As you can already tell, Dearly Beloved's involvement in these tracks varies greatly, either highly prominent, bordering on a remix or remaster, or barely hearable in the background, the latter currently applying. Only the beginning of the leitmotif is played on its original instrument, the piano. However, despite its limited use, it's still a vital part of the song. There's a momentum to it, propelling the piece forward with a sense of triumph and determination, boosting these moments of renewed purpose when groups of characters come together to solve a particular problem. We've established that Dearly Beloved in its base iteration is about connection, and Link to All represents a specific type, the kinds one can make when working towards a goal, whether it's with complete strangers, people on opposing sides, or even across different layers of reality. All of them are united under one ideal: to protect those who can't protect themselves. The track carries these moments of interrelation forward with a heightened sense of oomph, helping the player get excited for what's to come, which is perfect given the number of times this theme is used for transition points in the narrative. Specifically, points of transition into an unknown future. Sora's act of defiance against Xigbar and Xemnas, Ava's speech to the Dandelions, and Brain's arrival in Scala at Kylum. Given that Kingdom Hearts' narrative and themes rely heavily upon making new friends and allying with seemingly opposing people, it makes sense that we find Dearly Beloved integrated in this theme. Link to All represents connection in opposition to fear, to protect the innocent even in the face of overwhelming odds, taking a leap of faith even when moving forward is the scariest thing imaginable. While you would assume with the title of Guardians of Light, this track would play every time the Guardians of Light are all together, you wouldn't exactly be wrong, but it's a bit more complicated than that. Dream Drop Distance is the first game in the series to reference the group by name, but every time it is, we don't hear this theme.
The 7 Guardians of Light and the 13 Seekers of Darkness.
7 Guardians of Light? Well, for Keyblade wielders, there's me and Riku and Sora. And my 3 missing friends, that's 6.
Only when all, or at least a majority of the Guardians, are on the screen do we hear this theme, Dearly Beloved by extension. So why this choice? Well, I think the answer is simply looking at the concept of the Guardians of Light. Yes, they are a group of Keyblade wielders fighting on behalf of the Princesses of Heart against Xehanort's 13 Seekers of Darkness, but the group is far more than just a proxy army. They're a team, or to be more sentimental, a family. The Destiny, Wayfinder, and Seesaw trios are all linked via destiny and each other's relationships, despite some having never met before. They all go to bat helping Sora rescue Kairi, despite characters like Terra, Ventus, and Xion never meeting her. We see in Remind Aqua and Lee work in perfect sync, despite literally meeting on the same day. Unlike Link to All, which represents association around one specific idea, Guardians of Light is about the bonds made from said association around particular principles. Or, as Axel says in 358 over 2 days,
but I'd say, best friends are a notch above just plain friends.
So far, we've managed to mine out 2 specific aspects of Dearly Beloved in its variations: sanctuary, and the relations one can forge in shared desire to give it to others. But let's go a little deeper. We still have 2 songs left to go, Friends in My Heart and Always on My Mind. Unlike the previous thematic back-to-back, Friends in My Heart lays the backbone for Always on My Mind to solidify. Already we can spot a marked shift from the previous 2 variations. Instead of being relegated to the background, acting as support for the new ideas both Link to All and Guardians of Light are trying to establish, here Dearly Beloved takes center stage. Instead of discussing the union of people under similar goals, Friends in My Heart more directly highlights the concept of connection itself, the bonds we create between people. Every time we hear this theme, it's concerning a close bond between 2 or more people, whether it's platonic, romantic, or a secret third thing. Even in seemingly outlier scenes, like the cloaked figure talking to young Xehanort about the Child of Destiny, the conversation is still geared towards that topic, but its framing is more abstract due to describing a supposed person who could connect their heart to another to become one. The slow, almost quiet piano conveys a sense of calm and serenity throughout the piece, helping establish feelings of safety. Friends in My Heart is about how people change through their relationships with others. Roxas is who he is because of his friends in Twilight Town. Chiruthi will always protect the player, even beyond death. If Link to All and Guardians of Light are about protection and the connections made from fighting for it, Friends in My Heart is about the connections found in the comparatively mundane. Whenever there is a meeting, a parting is sure to follow. Association with people, regardless of variables, will always have to say goodbye to each other eventually. The friends we no longer visit, the family we've lost, it's a painful and sadly unavoidable part of living. The Kingdom Hearts series doesn't shy away from this terrifying possibility. We frequently see people, worlds, and things that separate for a time or permanently. This message of separation even extends to a meta level. Sora using the Keyblade to close Kingdom Hearts is a close to Xehanort's villainous plan and the ending of the Dark Seeker saga. However, instead of dwelling on that sadness, Dearly Beloved moves from the background to the foreground towards the end of the piece, finishing in grand, over-the-top fashion. Dearly Beloved is comforting, reminding the audience that separation in any capacity can't break the bonds that tie us together. Sora remains connected to Naminé even after forgetting her. Those people and your ties to them will be always on your mind. Okay, so there we go. The two sides of Dearly Beloved encapsulated in the pairs of variations. Altruistic types of connection, represented by Link to All and Guardians of Light, and individualistic types, represented by Friends in My Heart and Always on My Mind. Each piece helps Dearly Beloved musically spread its wings metaphorically. They allow this leitmotif to connect with the wide gamut of bonds. Platonic? Romantic? You need a relationship in this series?
Leitmotif, Dearly Beloved.
But what does all of this mean? Why do this? Yes, it can help to have an established leitmotif for this significant part of the series, but why? What is the point? Well, here's the thing. I've been pulling a Tetsuya Nomura on you guys. What I mean by that is that I've been intentionally ignoring a crucial piece to this entire analysis, waited until I had all my cards on the table, and will now proceed to activate my trap card of storytelling to create narrative pyrotechnics that will blow your minds. Very astute viewers will probably have already noticed this, but if you haven't, here's what I consider to be the most important musical moment in the Kingdom Hearts franchise and the key to our analysis.
What do you know? Riku and Sora, the sound ideas you two set free, joined together. And when they did, they made a great and powerful harmony.
Now, before we go further into analyzing, I first need to clear up what's different about this scene. And to do that, we need to define diegetic and non-diegetic music. Diegetic music is music heard within a story's world. For example, Rapunzel hears the instruments playing in the background. Non-diegetic is the opposite, music that can't or isn't hearable in the story's world. Every character in every scene I've shown thus far couldn't hear any music. Only the audience could. Except this scene. Sora and Riku's sound ideas fuse to create a music piece that has only previously existed in non-diegetic form. Before, whenever Dearly Beloved or any of its variations started playing during moments centered around connection, only the audience could hear it. But now, Dream Drop Distance has specifically associated this iconic tune with Sora and Riku coming together. And that association isn't exclusive to Dream Drop Distance. Before this game, Sora and Riku accompanied this particular melody several times, but it was always in a non-diegetic format. When Sora and Riku were children in Kingdom Hearts 1, closing the door, when Riku turns into Ansem to save Sora, and when they finally reunite. Even after Dream Drop Distance, we still hear Dearly Beloved used in moments specifically centered on Sora and Riku, except now in a more triumphant style. By having Dearly Beloved interact directly with the plot in relation to Sora and Riku, the story creates a musically thematic link between these two characters and the song, making Dearly Beloved Sora and Riku's leitmotif. The theme of the Kingdom Hearts franchise is Sora and Riku's theme, a sentiment echoed by the developers. The fact is that the main focus of the series is Sora and Riku, how their friendship develops, but also how they grow up, he says. After so many years, the player's personal growth is closely tied to the game's story at this point, so that's the most important thing about the series and what we want to put in the game. Now that we've linked Dearly Beloved, the leitmotif, to Sora and Riku as separate characters and a whole dynamic, let's look back at the previous variations, starting with Link to All and Guardians of Light. As Keyblade wielders and members of the Guardians of Light, it makes perfect sense why Dearly Beloved would appear in these two songs. It's Sora's whole shtick. He cares so much about others to the point of even bordering on having a martyr complex. But that's a whole can of worms for another day. But the point is that Sora is deeply protective of others, so naturally the leitmotif associated with him appears in these two songs. But with Riku, it's a bit of a different case. While Sora began the series as altruistic, Riku had to work at it. He had to redeem himself and learn how to care about other people. And that development was spearheaded by, you guessed it, Sora. But what's interesting is that while Riku had to redeem himself from screwing up, the seeds of altruism already existed in his childhood. When Terra met Riku, he asked him why he wanted to become stronger.
I know it's out there somewhere. The strength that I need.
Strength for what?
To protect the things that matter. You know, like my friends. Oh, Riku!
Protect the things that matter.
Riku's nature to protect others, eroded by his jealousy and fear of abandonment, originated from his desire to protect Sora. Riku's altruism was born and raised on his desire to be better and stronger for Sora. Link to All and Guardians of Light are about protecting others, a message communicated via Dearly Beloved, representing a dynamic founded on mutual protection and support. Sora and Riku's love and care for each other, represented by Dearly Beloved, is being used as thematic reinforcement to the messages these two variations are trying to send to the player, as if Sora and Riku's love touches all they protect. So, now that we've connected Link to All and Guardians of Light, what about the other duo, Friends in My Heart and Always on My Mind? How do those relate to Sora and Riku? Well, there may be something you guys aren't aware of. Sora and Riku really, really love each other. Like, transforming your body to look like your abuser to save the other person kind of love. The breakdown crying in relief and collapsing to your knees at seeing them again kind. Becoming an actual spirit designed to protect dreams. Creating an entirely new Keyblade adorned with a Paupu fruit. Literal actual dying kind of love. So it is safe to assume that their theme ties to songs associated with personal connections. Like Link to All and Guardians of Light, Dearly Beloved's use in these moments is meant to communicate to the player the depth of Sora and Riku's love and support for each other. Unlike Link to All and Guardians of Light, the composition doesn't have Dearly Beloved playing in the background to subtextually context scenes. Dearly Beloved takes center stage, beating the player over the head with the message, Sora and Riku's love is so powerful, it's breaking the boundaries between diegetic and non-diegetic music.
I know writers who use subtext and they're all cowards.
Always on My Mind continues this, however with a sadder connotation now with the added context. We've established that the song represents forgotten or separated connections, but ones that persist within one's heart. Which, if that doesn't fit Sora and Riku's relationship across the series, then I don't know what is. As much time we get to see Sora and Riku spend together, there's an abundant amount of time the two are kept apart. From the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 1 when Riku opened the door to darkness, then at the end when the door was closed, specifically when Riku believed he would never see Sora or Kairi again. The two spend the next 3 to 4 games in a constant cycle between protecting and searching for the other, often without them even knowing it, culminating in mutual self-sacrifice to save each other in Kingdom Hearts 3. Sora and Riku's story is just as much about separation as it is about connection, and Always on My Mind perfectly encapsulates this. So, what is the point of making these connections? Why tie the central theme of Kingdom Hearts and its variations to this specific pairing? Notice how the 4 songs group together by their similar themes, and how they relate to Sora and Riku. Link to All and Guardians of Light are about altruistic ties, and how protection is a cornerstone of Sora and Riku's bond. While Friends in My Heart and Always on My Mind are about personal relationships, and champion Sora and Riku's cycle, perhaps waltz, of connection and separation. These 2 couplets of songs are about the dichotomy of selflessness and selfishness. Care for others along with your wants and desires. Almost like light and darkness. Throughout the Kingdom Hearts series, many characters, plots, and themes can fall on a morality scale of light and darkness, with light representing selflessness and darkness representing selfishness. And this shouldn't come as a surprise. Kingdom Hearts is a series that borrows a lot from Disney, and most of the Disney villains we encounter are in some ways shaped by selfishness, with heroes contrasting that. But what separates Kingdom Hearts from the formula that Disney has built itself upon regarding morality is that while darkness is associated with selfishness, that doesn't automatically mean light and selflessness are the better options. We've seen in the series characters that are so selfless that they reach into unhealthy territory. Ericus's fear of the darkness is a factor in his willingness to alienate himself from his best friend Xehanort. He even attempted to kill Ventus and Terra while stubbornly thinking he was doing the right thing. The first Keyblade War began due to the Union leaders' universal paranoia of the darkness that they grew to fear even their own peers. At the same time, we see multiple characters that use or are from the darkness, are selfish, yet are still considered good guys. We already know about Riku, but we also have Roxas, Xion, and Axel, who all come together over their desires to find meaning in humanity outside of their duty to Organization 13. They care about their wants and desires, and we root for them to get them. Selflessness and selfishness are not inherently faulty values. You need both aspects to balance yourself and how you relate to others. Neither light nor darkness is binary, only the people who see it as such. And Sora and Riku's relationship is the perfect encapsulation of this. Throughout the series, Sora has always put other people, his friends, and his duty as a hero above all else, including his own emotional health. By the time of Kingdom Hearts 3, Sora's only happy face is toxic positivity, which by the way was fostered by users of the light, Donald and Goofy, has gotten so bad that he damns himself to the afterlife through abusing the power of waking rather than work through his feelings of worthlessness. But with Riku, Sora found something to have outside of that. His love for Riku isn't dependent on his duty as a hero. When the multiple worlds are restored in the first game, Sora willingly leaves Destiny Islands behind to find him. At the end of the second, when the duo saves the Realm of Light, he sits with Riku, accepting his fate of fading into darkness if it means spending more time with his friend. In opposition to his general altruistic protection of everyone he comes across, Sora's love for Riku is a personal connection. It's something reserved for himself. To borrow from Shira,
"You're worth more than what you can give to other people. You deserve love too."
As for Riku, while his initial protective nature came from love too, those feelings are twisted and corrupted into feelings of jealousy and fear of abandonment. Emotions associated with light and protection became selfish and destructive. However, Sora, who fostered those feelings of love in the first place, helps pull him back out. Across the series, we see Riku making more and more strides towards becoming more selfless, saving the sleeping world, rescuing Aqua, and leading the Guardians of Light, all following the example and sometimes even in the name of Sora. Riku transitioned from opening the door to darkness to prove his strength to Sora, to letting him go to help save Kairi. With all of this in mind, it makes sense that the variations of their leitmotif would reflect this. Altruistic connection, the light side, represented by Link to All and Guardians of Light, and personal connection, the dark side, represented by Friends in My Heart and Always on My Mind. Yin and Yang, equal yet opposite forces of the universe, carrying pieces of the other to achieve perfect balance.
It's like each of you is holding on to a little part of the other. Your hearts are always in tune, so they're free to sing.
That message reaches through and touches so many lives, even ones they haven't met before and, in some cases, will never be able to. But that's the beauty of it. The love and compassion shared between two boys from a too small world can be felt and shared across space and time. The magic of seeing and being seen by another human being, expressed through music, the universal language of mankind. Dearly Beloved is such a brilliant theme for Kingdom Hearts because it perfectly embodies what the series has always been about. Connection is power, and fighting for it is one of the highest causes one could ascribe to. And at the same time, genuine connection is an all-encompassing thing, non-discriminatory to anyone based on their morality or circumstances. Friends and family, spouses, allies, or strangers. All it takes is a strong heart and the desire to share. Light and dark, yin and yang. All of that epitomized in one song. So, when Kingdom Hearts 4 inevitably releases, listen closer to when Dearly Beloved and its variations appear. The results may surprise you.